Sun is shining down on me. Birds are singing praise. I'm about to have a good day in every single way.
Hey, ladies. That is Good Day by Forrest Frank. So, if you want to start off your day with the right thing, with the right type of positive vibes, I recommend that you go and listen to that. And it's a Christian artist. As you know, we listen to the Christian stuff over here. So, welcome back, ladies. I'm so excited to just do a quick 20 to 30-minute teaching on follow up. Okay, so we're going to go a little bit deeper into follow up because the last time we kind of touched on it, but I really want to make sure that you get this down because it's so important for you to get that. Okay, so follow up is what? What did we say? The greatest sales secret. So if you don't know about follow up and you don't know how to follow up, then you're leaving a ton of money on the table. And we're going to give you some good tips, some good understanding around what follow up is so that when you go out and you start building out your clientele and you're going after those situations, you can hit it on from every angle. Okay. So this one is called, or this little excerpt is called The Greatest Sales Secret, Part 2, Follow Up. And we're talking about the science, the strategy, and the execution of follow up. So in this training, we're going to go deeper into what I believe is the greatest sales secret, which is follow up. I've already said it like 10 times. So get it in your head. One of the greatest things that you can do in your career is be good at what? Follow up. It's not surface level follow up. I'm not just talking about saying, hey, every time you go to church and like making sure you know each other. It's not awkward texting like, hey, how are you? I just wanted to check in. It's not just checking in, but it's strategic follow up. And we're going to go into detail. I'm going to give you some examples. Get that notepad out. I hope you guys are using the same notepad for all of this so that you can easily go back and just put this stuff to use. But most people don't lose deals because they're bad at talking. They lose deals because they disappear too early. I'm going to say that again. Most people don't lose deals because they're bad at talking. They lose deals because they disappear too early. They're impatient. If you master follow up, you separate yourself from most people in sales immediately. Now, the psychology of timing. Here's something most beginners don't understand. People do not buy when you're ready. They buy when timing aligns. They buy when urgency increases. They buy when their pain factor gets more painful. They buy when confidence is built in them that they can do it and this thing is for them. They buy when their circumstances change. When someone says, I need to think about it, it rarely ever means never, except for if you're a mom, because we all know, us moms, we say, I'm going to think about it. And it actually means what? No. I'm just kidding. I'm just putting some humor in here. But it really means I'm unsure. I'm overwhelmed. I don't feel the urgency yet. I need clarity. It really means that you need to not give up and stay around because when they are ready and you're there, you're going to catch them, right? So you speak to a woman. Let me give you an example. You're speaking to a woman who is telling you that she might be ready to leave her job to come and do high ticket sales. Let's say you're working with me and you're doing sales and you're speaking with somebody who's like, yeah, I think I want to leave my job. Now that's not required, but I think I'm ready to jump ship and just do this thing. I know I can do it. On Monday, she says, well, I'm not too sure if I'm ready. But on Friday, her boss disrespects her. And now the urgency for her to find something new that's going to work has increased. So nothing about your offer changed. Nothing about you changed. You did a great job, but her circumstances did. And that's why follow up works. Life is always shifting. Remember, we talked about this in the last video. Next year, my 8-year-old is going to be 9. Next year, my 11-year-old is going to be 12. And in a few years, she'll be 16. Right now, I'm not buying my 11-year-old a car, but at some point, we'll be looking at cars, right? So it's like, when life shifts, are you going to be there to pick up the pieces? Are you going to be there as a friend or as somebody who is constantly there showing like, I want your business, so that when that person's ready to go, you're ready to go? That's why follow-up works, right? So your job is not to force timing and force people to get your stuff right now because you need them to close. But your job is to stay present until timing aligns with people. So as you start to meet people, you'll hear their stories, you'll understand. And that doesn't mean, that's not a license to go light on your pitch and light on your offer and not push them to get the water. Because remember, we talked about getting the water, but there are situations where that person is not ready or it's not the right timing, and there's no way you're going to get a yes out of them. So those situations, you want to make sure that you stick around. You do your best to give them the water. If they're not ready to take the water, what do? Stick around. So let's talk about some math, because if you guys know me, I am a math person. I love breaking down the numbers. I love understanding what this looks like. What does this look like in numbers, right? So the math follow-up. Here's the math that most people never calculate. And this stuff is like, what I'm telling you is research, right? So most deals close between the 5th and the 12th touch. And I know this because I have some big clients that I have had to reach out to more than 10 times by now. There's a client I closed recently for over $1 million. And I talked to him probably over 40 times before we closed, before we actually closed. Not like, he closed and then we kept talking. No, I had to follow up every week, every other month, whatever it is, until we got to that close. And it took like 6 months. So most amateurs stop after the second touch. So they reach out to somebody, no response, or it's not closing. They try again, and then they stop. This gap that I'm talking about is where all the money is. There's a ton of money in follow-up. That's why it's the greatest sales secret. So if you have 50 leads and you are only following up twice, you might close 3 of those. If you follow up consistently 6 to 8 times, you might close 8 to 10 of those. Same leads, different discipline. Same leads, different discipline. Now, I need you guys to be a beast. We are ladies. Ladies in sales are like dynamic. Why? Because we're good at this stuff. We're good at having processes. We're good at following these things. And I'm not just telling you this stuff so you can have it in the back of your mind like, oh, I'm going to follow up again. No, I'm telling you something that you can build a process in your sales system so that you can be successful. So take this information and put it to work in your business. Write up a protocol of how you're going to do this thing. After I reach out to somebody, after the deal, if the deal doesn't close, what is your process of follow-up? Follow-up increases conversion without increasing lead cost for the person that you're working for. Now, if you're somebody who is closing leads, and even if they're old leads, but you're able to follow up and keep those people on the line and get those people through the door, do you know how valuable you become? That's where you go from making a $20 commission to making a your value goes up. So now you can ask for more money. You can make a 30% commission, 40% commission, and even sometimes 50%. But when you're starting out, you have to take those 10 to 20% commissions, right? So this is how you increase your value. Now, let's go forward. Let's talk about follow-up. There are 4 types of follow-up that I want to go over with you guys today. Let's get very tactical, and I want you guys to write these down and include these in your business plan. Okay, professionals, they rotate these. They don't just try to do the same ones all the time. They're not always doing reminder follow-ups, or they're not always just doing value, but they rotate between the different types of follow-up so that the client doesn't realize what's happening, right? Your job is to make it comfortable for the potential client. Amateurs repeat the same weak messages all the time. Now, let's talk about the first type of follow-up. The first type of follow-up is reminder follow-up. This is a very low level, okay? And it's very simple. It's the weak version of it is, hey, I'm just checking in. People do that all the time. I get those messages all the time. Hey, I'm just checking in. The stronger version, and this is an example that you can use. Hey, Sarah, just circling back on our conversation about increasing your income from home. Did you have any questions about reviewing the detail? After you reviewed the details? Same purpose, different positioning. So there's a certain way that you can position yourself and sound like you're engaging. So remember, the first one, reminder follow-up. The second one, value follow-up. Now this one builds authority. A good example of this one is, hey, Sarah, I was thinking about what you said about wanting to replace your 9-to-5 income. I just worked with someone in a similar situation who closed her first deal within 30 days. Want me to send you what she did differently? Now that keeps the door open because you're adding value. Now you're offering them something that has nothing to do with the deal, with closing the deal. The third one is context follow-up. Context follow-up. Let me make sure that my microphone is on the right one. Yep, it is. Okay, the third one is context follow-up. This shows listening. Okay, so I want you to listen. It says, last time we spoke, you mentioned that you were trying to hit $5,000 a month before the end of the year. Are you still aiming for this timeline? Or you can say, you said consistency was your biggest concern. Has anything shifted there at your current job? Because when you're doing that fact finding, people are going to talk about the problems and you're going to get deep into that. Are you happy at your job? Is everything good? Do you need to make more money? Like, why are we on the phone right now? Or maybe you're working for somebody else, but whatever your questions are, they're going to aim to understand why would they potentially need your product, right? So this makes it personal. And it makes you now not just another salesperson, but you're someone who paid attention. You're someone who paid attention when you add context. Okay, so the last one is going to be urgency follow-up. Now, I want you to really listen to me right now. Do not use urgency follow-up as your everyday. You want to use this very sparingly and very carefully. Because if you use this one and it does not hit, you can potentially lose your prospect. Right? Because if you create urgency and then they miss the boat, now what? You kind of built up this urgency around them getting in this boat, right? So you want to be careful with that. I've done it before and clients did not bite. I was able to recover from it. but it's not something that you want to do all the time, because if you do, you'll lose your credibility as somebody who wants to help them. You'd never want to seem desperate or like you just need them to, you need their money, you want their money. The moment you do that, you lose the client. Even if you have a great product, even if they need what you have, they won't want to work with you. So the last one is urgency follow-up. Use this sparingly. An example of that is, hey, Sarah, just a heads up. We're onboarding new students this week, and the spots are filling up and they're extremely limited. If timing aligns with you right now, this would be the window. Or the bonus that we discussed ends on Friday. Did you want to take advantage of that? If you're considering it, let me know. Urgency without pressure. Anytime you try to create urgency, try to do it in a way where it's not pressuring them, like you have to do it right now or you're going to lose it. Listen to the way that we said it for the bonus. The bonus we discussed ends on Friday. Okay, that's like, you got to move now, right? I didn't want you to miss it. You have to bring in that human element. I didn't want you to miss it. Let me know if you're considering it, kind of putting the ball back in their court. You're not pushing them too much where it's like, oh, okay, now I have to make a decision right now or I'm going to lose it. And then keeping them on the line if they're not ready, if they don't have the money. Let them then know that there could be another opportunity or something like that, right? Okay, the dripping strategy. The dripping strategy. Dripping is structured presence. Okay, I want you to understand what is dripping. Now, we talk about this a lot in my job as a financial advisor. We talk about this a lot in my business as a high ticket salesperson. Dripping is like follow up, right? It's basically staying in front of people for long periods of time. Now, you can't stay in front of people who you don't know by being like, maybe, hey, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing today? How you doing this week? How you doing? And they don't know you. At some point, it feels disingenuous. So there's different things that you can do. And we kind of went over different strategies that you can implement and switch it up. Don't do it every day. Spread out the days, spread out the weeks so that you can stay in communication without it being too much. You really want to use wisdom on this, right? So here's the example of a 14-day drip for someone who said, not right now. Okay, so day one, you're going to message them and you're going to say, great speaking with you today. Based on what you shared, your goal is $8,000 a month and flexibility. I will stay in touch. Thank you for taking your time to meet with me. I'm going to make sure that we stay in touch. Okay, that's day one. Now, on day three, 3 days later, now you're going to do a value follow-up. Now, we already talked about adding value, right? Something that is bringing something to them that has nothing to do with them signing up. Quick reminder, the people who win in sales are the ones who master follow-up. That's it. Text message. Then you're going to wait a few more days out, like 3 more days out. You can decide what your strategy is, but just have a strategy and use it for all your clients. And try to figure out what works, because eventually you'll have data and you'll know what works for you. And you'll get confident and you'll get good. But day 7, you send them a case study from the business you're working with. And then you say, thought you'd appreciate this. Someone who started with 0 experience and closed their first deal in 3 weeks. They're in the situation that you want to be in. Text message, bloop, just drop that in. Day 14, reopen. Check now you're going to try to get them back on the hook on day 14. Hey, I'm checking back in. Has anything shifted since the last time that we spoke? That is dripping. That is professional. That is intentional. That is not desperate. You cannot sound desperate when you're doing your follow-up. If you get desperate, I just need you to answer. Can we jump on a quick call? Don't try to do that. Because if you do that, people will push you away and they'll block you out and they won't want to talk to you. They'll be like, please, you're doing too much. So you have to find a classy way and a way for you to get in front of people without it being overpowering. So here's the truth. If you don't drip, someone else will. I'm going to say it again. If you don't drip, someone else will. And when they're ready, they will buy from whoever has been present. So you did all that work. You sold them. You told them all about it. But somebody else comes in and takes the prize because they're ready 2 weeks from now and you already gave up on them and moved on. It's your job to stay present with the people who come in front of you. Okay? So let's talk about follow-up systems. So if you rely on memory, now we talked a little bit about this yesterday, and I talked about as a fiduciary, I have a duty to take notes because I have a duty to my clients. But because I come from the finance world and I'm teaching sales to you, I want to teach you the right way to do things. And it's very, very important for you to take good notes. Not only because good notes are important for you to be able to show what you've done and have that memory recall if ever needed. Maybe, I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice. Maybe the person you're working with, the guru, wants to see your work. And if you have that, it shows that you're doing the work. Nobody can ever look at you and be like, let's say you haven't closed something in a while, but you can show these conversations. You can show a log of everything that you're doing. So you want to document. And especially for the follow-up, you do not want to rely on your memory. And you might have a good memory, but you want to keep that stuff in there. Also, maybe somebody else has to jump in. Maybe you have to bring in the guru. And it's easier for them to just look at your notes really quickly as far as like what's going on with this client than for you to tell them the last 10 conversations that you had, that their dog died, then something else happened. They moved to Missouri, their job, whatever. If you have all of that down, so much better. So professionals use systems, right? They log. And if you're in your log, if you're using a CRM, that's great. If you're whoever you're working with, if they provide a CRM, you can add that there. But I would recommend having your own notes because those clients will always be yours no matter where you go, what you do. So make a log, and your log should have the date that you contacted them last. What was the conversation? Was there an objection? The timeline and the next follow-up date. And then put reminders like, how are you planning to follow up with this person on there? And then I would use your calendar to put your follow-up. So on my calendar, after I call somebody, if they say, oh, call me back next week, I put an appointment on my calendar. All those appointments are at one time on my calendar. And I also color code my calendar. So I'll have that one be a certain color. So I know, oh, okay, I need to call all these people on this day. So if they're like, oh, call me in a week or call me in a month, or if they're like, no, I'm not ready right now. Okay, do you mind if I keep in contact with you? What does that timeline look like? Do you mind if I keep in contact with you? Might mean, okay, I'm going to call you in a week, or I'm going to text you tomorrow. Put them all on your calendar or have a way to keep track of it. Use spreadsheets, a CRM. Follow-up should not depend on how you feel. Some days you're going to feel like you're at the top of the world in sales. And some days you're going to feel like giving up. But if you have a system and you have everything structured and it's documented, sorry guys, It makes it easier for you to do the things that you need to do, right? And so it's important for you guys to make sure that you're doing the things, you're doing it right, and making sure that you have a process. So I'm giving you some tips, but you create it how you want to create it. Sales is not emotional, it is operational. What is your mode of operation for follow up? I should be able to come to you after this teaching. Like I can give you 24 hours. Like this is not for people who chill. This is not for people who are just hanging out. This is for go-getters. High ticket sales will never work for the person who's just trying to make some extra money and chill out. This is for the people who are like, I am ready to do this thing and I'm running and I'm running. They're running faster than me. They're waiting for me to drop content. They're waiting for me to give them the next task. And when they get that task, they're not just like, oh, okay, I'm going to do the bare minimum. No, they're going after it. So for those people, I should be able to come to them in 24 hours and tell them, hey, what is your mode of operation for follow up? And you should be able to tell me a succinct process after this teaching of how you plan to follow up with your clients. Okay, so let's go over really quickly before we leave because we're pretty much done. Just a few quick follow-up mistakes that people make. Okay, and I just want to go over this because I put this in here just to give you guys a little like example of things not to do. So mistake number 1, repeating the same messages over and over and over again. Don't do that. Don't do, let's use the Bible verse. Treat others how you would like to be treated. If you don't want somebody messaging you the same message 10 times, don't do it to somebody. Don't send them a message. Hey, 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 how you doing? Hey, week 1. Hey, week 2. Hey, week 3. No response. You're never going to get a response because that is annoying. Do not do that. Mistake number 2, sounding unsure. We talked about confidence. We talked about coming with authority and identity. Having that confidence is so important, right? You cannot sound unsure when you send messages and when you follow up with people. Like, even though they said no, you need to be sure. You have to be the rock and let them be unsure. So what does that sound like? Hey, I'm sorry to bother you. ... No. You're not sorry to bother them. You're trying to give them the water that they need. So you're not sorry to bother them. Never apologize for professionalism. Again, never apologize for professionalism. Mistake number 3, taking silence personally. If you send somebody a message and they don't respond, it's not personal. If you send me a message and I don't respond, it is not personal. I can't tell you how many messages of people who I love dearly, even my own family, I don't respond. And it's not even out of like disrespect or like, oh, I'm not going to respond to them. I literally read the message, I think about it, and I never come back to it. Right. And it's not personal. It's not like, oh, I'm not going to respond to them. Sometimes it's just like I'm on the move. Maybe I'm taking a shower. I'm brushing my teeth when I get the message. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, I'm going to respond, but I don't. So there's a lot of reasons why people don't respond, but don't take it personally. Don't take it personally because it's not personal. Just continue on with your strategy. Continue on with whatever you're going to do. Maybe the first one was like, hey, how are you? Have you considered what we talked about? No response. Boom. Okay, you wait 3 days later. Maybe you're going to send some value now. Send them a quote about timing. A lot of people who think they need time actually just need a better mode of making decisions. Find something to send. But just remember, silence is not It doesn't mean that they don't like you. It doesn't even mean that they don't want to talk to you. It just usually means that they're busy, which is most of the people that we're going after. And it's not rejection, okay? So let's talk about the long game mindset. The long game mindset. Now, when we're in sales, we're not transactional. We don't work in retail. If you want to do transactional sales, go work at the phone store. And some of them are the best ones are long game people, because I've had some pretty good salespeople at the phone at I think it was Verizon, and I stuck with them because they were thinking about what? The long game. They built a relationship. They were like, if you need anything, you call me. And I knew, okay, this is more than just a one-time phone experience, right? So my largest client, we know, I talked about this last time, my largest client that I actually closed took about 2 years. 2 years of light touches, 2 years of adding value, 2 years of, hey, how you doing? 2 years of showing up to events and doing things that I was not getting paid for. But guess what? When I closed that deal, it was in the millions, and that's in the finance world, but it can be in any area. I've closed deals in the high ticket world that are big, very, very big deals. Why? Because I look at this thing like it's the long game. When timing shifted and things shifted for that client, I remember when I first met them, I was ready to go. I was like, hey, I want to work with you. I want to do this. I want to do that. Sorry, we already have somebody. We don't need your help right now. We don't need you. Okay. Um, okay, well, would you mind if I stay in contact? No, that's fine. Okay. A year goes by, still being cool, still staying in contact. But when timing shifted, when something shifted, there was no pressure. There was no self-deprivation, making myself look bad, being desperate. But when they had a need, I was there. I was there. And it was an easy conversation of, hey, do you need anything? Actually, we do. Wow. Oh, you're here. You've been here. So not because I pressured them, but because I stayed relevant. Follow-up is not a trick. It's maturity. It's discipline. It's what separates people who dabble in sales from people who build careers in sales. Now, I've been doing this over 10 years. And I'm telling you, some of my top clients have come from me staying relevant. It's come from me building relationships and knowing how to stick with people and stay with people and not give up on what I know I can do for those clients. Some people just need to get to know you. Maybe you're not the guru, but they want to know, who is this person who is trying to sell to me, right? And so it's up to you to be able to stick with people so that you can get to what it is that you ultimately want. Now that's the training. Okay, so that's all I have for you guys for follow-up. And I hope that it was good. I hope that this is enough information for you to put a mode of operation around follow-up together. Go ahead and start thinking about, okay, so what am I going to do in this situation? How do I want to start structuring my follow-up pattern for my clientele? When somebody says, oh, I'm not sure, or I'm not ready yet, I don't have the money, what are you going to do? You should have something ready to go. Like, you just put them right into that system and they just ride through it. And I want you to not only just take in the information and create a plan, but execute the plan. Stay disciplined, stay consistent. And I promise you, God will bless you. Okay. So remember, we say God speed because God is the driving force of every single thing that we do. God is the driving force of every single thing that we do. I want to remind you guys of that as much as I can, because when you know that, He will light your path. He will make a way out of no way. Okay. And I know that you're here on this free training for a reason. And I believe that if you really take this seriously, your life will be changed. You will be able to do the things that you never thought you could do. So I know you have to go because I hope you have something to do. Go listen to some personal development. Go listen to an audiobook. There's a book by, I think I talked about this last time, a book by Brian Tracy called No Excuses. Go read that. Go listen to that. There's another book that I like to listen to, a Christian book. I have a lot of books that I like. Oh, go read The Purpose Driven Life by Rick Warren. That's one of my favorite books. That book changed my life. And I'm coming out with a book soon, so I'll be promoting that soon. And it's called Failing Up, and it's talking about failure and how sometimes we are in life, we can't be afraid to fail. Everybody who succeeded in life, they failed, but they were not afraid of failure. They walked right through it and continued going on, and they were very successful in life. So all right, you gotta go. I gotta go. I'll see you guys on the other side. Go ahead and go into our Facebook group and put a takeaway and tag me. Tell me something that you got from this. I really hope that you guys were blessed by this. Have a wonderful day, and until next time, bye. Godspeed.